In over 175 countries, all the ships at sea. You can hear us on the American Forces Radio Network. As always, shout out to the brave men and women of our United States Armed Forces. Also, shout out to the DTT, Day Trader Trio. Big Biz Show inside the Loft 100 studios. We continue. Costa, Mary Godwin, and Sully.
There we go.
Big news.
I'll tell you, I have not only Bloomberg, but Fox Business and BizTV want to have Carey Claiborne come on air and talk to them.
Oh, do they?
About Adial Pharmaceuticals, stock symbol ADIL, because it's obviously one of these topics that if you can talk about a company that has a drug that can help a certain type of, it would be like having a drug that surefire works on the BRCA gene.
Yeah.
This works on the alcohol gene in certain people, which is good.
Carey Claiborne, CEO Adial Pharmaceuticals, ADIL is their ticker symbol, and he is back with us here on the Big Biz Show. And Carey, I guess there's some very, very big news to talk about as well.
Yeah, I want to hijack all that talk about how popular you are, but what I really want to do is talk about this $60 million potential royalty deal with, and forgive me if I'm not saying it correctly, but it's Molteni Pharmaceutical. Talk about that. This is Europe, and $60 million is not a small number. So let's talk about that a bit. This is great news.
First of all, glad to see you guys again. Always enjoy talking to you. That's a major step for us at ADIL. We're really excited about this. Molteni is a great company based in Italy. Founded in 1892, so they've been doing this a real long time. And we're really excited that they saw really the potential to treat AUD in Europe. There haven't really been any new drugs there in quite a long time either. And actually, there are more people suffering from AUD in Europe than in the United States. As you know, if you've been in Europe, they like to drink.
Yep. Like their wine.
There's a whole country that stops down in October. Let's face it. I know we have a day called St. Patrick's Day, and I don't even think Ireland celebrates that, but Germany. Anyway, and I think what's interesting here, though, is as we've talked to biopharma in the past, if you think in terms of proof of concept and adoptability, oftentimes Europe does lead the way into what happens in the U.S. And I think this is a really good precursor for you guys in terms of what might happen in the future here in our country, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we think that is definitely the case. Europe definitely was. We talked before about endpoints, harm reduction. They were really leading the way there. The U.S. is now kind of on board with that as well, in terms of if you can bring drinking down to moderate levels, you don't have to be abstinent to see a treatment effect. Europe really was there first. This is a great market opportunity for us, and it allows us to keep our focus on the U.S. market. And now we have a partner that is very interested in Europe and knows Europe. They're already operating in over 35 countries, so they know the local markets. They know how to penetrate it. And we're really excited about getting together with them and trying to make this a huge commercial success for us in Europe as well.
Carey Claiborne is the CEO of Adial Pharmaceuticals. Their ticker symbol is ADIL.
Carey, I just love what you guys are doing, because I do know lots of people, like you said, abstinence is really the only thing, and a treatment program like AA where you can't have anything. And that doesn't sound like a plausible option for many people. And so tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe what you can spot in somebody, like if they have alcoholics in their family and it's genetically passed down, you can spot this gene where they might potentially go down a road of having problems with alcohol. And so that can be treated early on. Is that right?
Yeah. Basically, our drug is really a precision treatment. So it's not for everyone, but if you take a test for a genetic marker, if you have that biomarker, our data shows that our drug can help you drink less. We're not necessarily saying because you have that biomarker, that's why you struggle with alcohol, although the science is starting to look at things like that. But what we do know is that if you have that biomarker, and it's about 14% of the patients we've seen in our study, it helps those patients reduce their drinking by taking away the cravings and the impulse to drink. And most addictive behaviors cravings have a real huge impact on why someone struggles with trying to reduce their intake of that particular substance.
If I think about this correctly, if you going back to the Molteni thing, you've got 130 plus years of history there. For them to do this exclusive collaboration with you, does that do anything in terms of FDA perception as you guys go through that arc of the FDA story?
I think it could. I think, beside that, I think what I hope it does is it wakes up some of these companies in the U.S. that we talk to, have ongoing discussions with that seem to take their time, drag their feet in terms of getting to a point where you got a definitive agreement in place. Hopefully it maybe lights a fire under them saying, oh, well, there are companies out there ready to move forward with this. Europe has now got an exclusive relationship.
Talk about due diligence. It's a typical deal. So
it's a typical
it goes
stepping
through a journey.
stone. So yeah, right. It's first step in a deal. That's why they call it a collaboration framework. I think that's more a European term that they like to use when your two companies are agreeing to let's get together, figure out how to make this work. So they're responsible for all regulatory work and regulatory costs to get an approval in Europe. They'll be responsible for any commercial costs to launch the product in Europe. The field, the territories covered are 27 countries that are in the EU, plus the UK and Switzerland. There are, the financial terms are really agreed upon. What we have to do is get through sort of an exploratory process where they start reaching out in different countries and getting what's called scientific advice from those particular countries in terms of what they look for to be able to approve ADO4 in those markets. And then when we're through that exclusivity, that period, then we hopefully move into what's called a definitive agreement.
Yes.
Where everything is locked and loaded. But the great thing is the financial terms, where we come up with that $60 million, those are all agreed upon in terms of what those milestones are and what the royalties would be upon launching the drug and getting sales.
Can you, before we let you out of here, and I know this, I don't want to put you in a corner on this, and if you can't talk about it, you can pass on it, but as far as supply chain readiness goes, talk about that. Because that's a piece of this, right? I mean, let me a little infotainment for our audience. When you see most retail manufacturers, let's say a retail manufacturer of surfboards or a retail manufacturer of T-shirts, the minute you get to $10 million in sales is the minute you're out of money, believe it or not, because you have to have money to manufacture. That supply chain, supply chain readiness is a big deal. Can you just comment on that real quickly?
Yeah, I think, for our production in the U.S., we have great agreements that we announced in 2025 with Thermo Fisher and Cambrix, two well-known manufacturing companies that can really guaranteed, that we can produce ADO4 in the United States. And I don't see any issues with being able to do that in Europe as well. Molteni has a long-standing history of manufacturing as well. So they're very interested in taking over the manufacturing for the product in Europe. And because they're in substance abuse already, they have methadone treatments, buprenorphine treatments. So they're already in the space and understand the supply chain and how that works as well.
Carey Claiborne, CEO, Adial Pharmaceuticals. Carey, congratulations. Ticker symbol ADIL. Yes, you will see a lot more of Carey and Adial here right on the Big Biz Show. Speaking of, keep it right here. Much more to come. Don't go anywhere.